We continue Metta Bhavana. One of the 11 advantages of Metta Bhavana is invulnerability from fire, poison, and arrows. Today we have to listen many stories regarding the advantages of Metta Bhavana. The first story is Sri Lanka story. It refers to a story of a man by the name of Siyabahu. He was a son born of a princess with a conjugal relationship with a lion. On attaining the age of 16, this young man Siyabahu asked his mother, "My mother, what is it that you are different in race from that of my father, the lion?" Siyabahu's mother recounted what has happened. "My son Siyabahu, I am the daughter of the kings of country of Wenga. At one time, on my way to the state of Magadha, together with other travelers, we all came upon this great lion. The whole crowd of travelers except me fled in fear. However, I was unable to lift my foot and run away for my life, exactly as was once formally predicted by an astrologer. An astrologer forecasted that I would have my conjugal relationship with the lion." Siyabahu's mother told to his son. The prophecy was confirmed by a miraculous event in this way. While I remained at a standstill with fright, this great lion carried me on his back and took me away into a cave where he lived. So the mother told Siyabahu. Siyabahu then inquired, "My mother, why you continue to remain in the cave without returning to the palace where your relatives were residing?" He asked to his mother. The mother told her son Siyabahu that she was unable to leave the cave because the mouth of the cave was blocked up with a huge, massive rock. Thereupon, Siyabahu removed this huge rock and left the place, carrying his mother and sister on his shoulder. on return to his den, the great lion, not seeing his wife and children, felt dejected and went out in search of them. That great lion attacked all people living in the outskirts of the villages where he set his foot. On receipt of complaint from the people concerned about the ravage done by the lion, the king of Venga issued a royal proclamation that any person who could suppress this enemy, the great lion, would be offered a reward of 3,000 cash. Siabahu came forward to undertake the task of killing the lion. Siabahu's mother twice prevented her son from doing harm to the great lion, his own father. And on the third time, without the knowledge of his mother, Siabahu accepted the reward, accepted the award. When he arrived to the palace, the king promised that he would surrender his kingdom to Siabahu if Siabahu could quell the danger brought by this great lion. Therefore, Siabahu left the palace and proceeded to where the lion could trace the great lion was greatly touched with an instinctive paternal love when he saw his son, and the great lion was developing his loving kindness when he saw his son, Siabahu. So the arrows which were shot at the great lion by Siabahu had no effect on the lion, and those arrows were said to have rebounded and dropped before him near his foot by virtue of loving kindness, by virtue of metta that had been developed and radiated towards. Three attempts were made to kill the great lion in the like manner. But all arrows bounded back to Siabahu and dropped on the earth before him. Because repeated attacks by his son, a feeling of anger and bitterness had arisen in the great lion. So the arrow which was shot on the fourth occasion hit the great lion pierce through its body. So judging from this incident, it is to be borne in our mind that these 3 arrows had failed to hit and pierce through the lion's body because of the father's love towards his son, and not just merely because of ordinary loving kindness. And also, it is to be understood that if loving kindness is developed and radiated towards others with concentrated attention, it would have a telepathic effect. And the recipients of metta would tend to love and respect in reciprocity. Not only human beings, but also animals are likely to reciprocate love. Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw found an article published by the Home for the Ages in this magazine. It mentioned a particular incident of metta. So in this article, there was an old man. His name was Upatu. He was a lover of animals and had a deep compassion for them. Particularly, his sympathy went more for dogs. He used to look after the dogs and feed them well. On certain days which he had fixed earlier, he visited the dogs in the presence of the pagoda, cooked meals and fed them. Whenever he came over to that place, the dogs were said to have greeted him warmly. At one time, Upatu and his companions went on a pilgrimage to worship Myatabik Pagoda, Marble Bull Pagoda, situated near a place called Towzone in Chaito Township. The Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw had also been to these places when he was young, and he had spent about 3 nights there. Mahasi Sayadaw went round for alms in the villages at the foot of the famous Kailasa Hill. In this article, it's mentioned that dogs in these villages were noted for their ferocity. They used to attack and bite the strangers in a group. If a person is going to visit a shrine up on the hill, he has to pass through a village at the foot of the hill. One time, when a group of pilgrims led by Upatu passed through the village, a group of dogs came running towards Upatu, and the villagers who were then watching them with anxiety. They assumed that the dogs would attack Upatu. To their great astonishment, however, these aggressive dogs approached Upatu and greeted him by putting their forefeet up with love and affection, as if Upatu was their beloved master. It is therefore to be concluded that this had so happened because of love and compassion, metta and karuna, that was bestowed upon dogs. And the fifth benefices, devas also give their love. Number 6 benefices about the protection given by the devas. Number 7, relating to the incidence of invulnerability from fire, poison, and leadership weapons, etc. It has been also mentioned about miraculous escape from injury which could have been brought about by the burning butter oil. And immunity from poison as described in the story of Chula Siwatera has been only mentioned in brief. Invulnerability against sharp weapons like knife in the case of Sankecha Samanira has been cited in passing, and a brief story of a cow unharmed by the stroke of a spear has been stated as shown in the commentaries. So we would like to add here other story of Samavati, as had been illustrated in the Dhammapada commentary. So in the Dhammapada commentary, the story goes like this. During the lifetime of our Lord Buddha, King Utena was the ruling monarch of the state of Kosambi. The king Utena had 3 queens. One of them is Vasuladatta. She was the daughter of King Chandapijota, the ruler of Ujjaini state. And the other queen's name was Samavati. She originally belonged to Badawadi town and was the daughter of a millionaire named Badawadi. Sometime after the death of her parents, having been adopted by Gosaka, the rich man, she was generally recognized as the daughter of Gosaka. And the next queen bore the name of Magandi. She was the daughter of a Brahmin by the name of Magandi from the country of Kuru. Magandi, the Brahmin's daughter, had a very fair complexion, and she was said to be extremely attractive. So a number of wealthy persons was stated to have made proposal asking for her hands in marriage for their sons. However, these proposals were turned down by Magandi's father. He mentioned that all these people are unworthy of acceptance for his beautiful daughter. One day, this Brahmin Magandi came across the Buddha. Magandi, the Brahmin, noticed the majestic features and lineaments of the Buddha. The countenance of the Buddha is clear and serene. The complexion is pure and bright. Why the countenance of Buddha is clear and serene, and the complexion is pure and bright. Common worldlings are affected by many objects. They are affected by seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, etc. So they are following these objects of seeing, hearing, etc. And finally, they end up in suffering. Buddha transcends all these objects. Buddha is not affected by all kinds of objects, agreeable or disagreeable. When he see, hear, smell, etc. So Buddha remains serene and contentness is very clear. So Buddha is indeed Arahant. Araham, Arakat, Arakata Araham. Buddha is far away from various kinds of kilesa. He is free and purified from the unwholesome tendency and the 1500 mental defilements. So there are 1500 mental defilements. Kilesa. Kilesas are mental states that define our mind. Kilesa are mental states that torment our minds. So primary kilesa are 10. So can you follow me? 10 kilesas. Lobha, dosa, moha, mana, ditti, vichikicca, tina, uddhacca, ahirika, anuttappa. So that is 10 kilesa. 10 kilesa you have to multiply. You have to multiply namati pinyasa, that is Citta and Cittasika. Citta 1, Cittasika 52. So Nama is 53. 53 and Rupa, Nibbana Rupa 18 and Lakkhana Rupa 4. So 53, 18 and 4. How many? 53, 18. 53 and 18 and 4. $75. So 75 and you need to multiply Ijjata and Beta. The Ijjata and Beta 75 multiplied by 2, that is 150. 150 and 150 multiplied by 10 kilesa. 1500 mental defilements. So Buddha is far away from these 1500 mental defilements. So ordinary people are very near to these defilements. When the objects are very agreeable, they become greed, lobha. When they are disagreeable, they become anger. But Buddha is very far away from these mental defilements. Another meaning of Arahant is Buddha eradicate the enemies of mental defilements such as greed, hatred, and delusion. And also Buddha has broken the spokes of the wheels of existence. And Buddha has nothing to conceal, and he is always pure, whether in public or in private. So when the Brahmin Magandi came across the Buddha, he noticed the majestic features and lineaments of the Buddha. And also Buddha possessed 32 major marks and 80 minor marks of a great man. So the Brahmin Magandi considered Buddha as being a worthy suitor for his beautiful daughter, and then asked the Buddha, he didn't know who Buddha was. And Brahmin asked the Buddha, Samana ekame dita ati ham itagangalan dasa anuchavika purisam napasami tume dasa anuchavika Tanwo ahan dasami yawa mamagamana idewa ditata. Brahmin asks to the Buddha, that means, O Reverend Bhikkhu, I have a very charming daughter. I have been searching for a man deserving of giving marriage to my daughter all throughout in the past, but to no avail. O Bhikkhu, you have the noble qualities really worthy of my daughter's hands. I wish I could offer my beautiful daughter to you. Could you please wait for a while in this place? Brahmin Magandi said to the Buddha. Then Magandi immediately left the place in a hurry and soon came back bringing his wife and daughter Magandi. Buddha, after leaving his footprints at the place where he met the Brahmin, proceeded to another place not too far away from the place of their meeting and stayed on. On their return to the site where they first met, the Brahmin Magandi could only find the footprints of the Buddha. And he told his wife, Ayamasa Bada Walincho. This is the footprint of the bhikkhu I have met. The wife Magandi, with her knowledge of the science of astrology, remarked, Nayidam Brahmana Pincha Gamma Guna Sevino Bada. O Magandi, the owner of this footprint is a person who had already discarded the sensual pleasures. It is a footprint of a man totally devoid of sensual pleasures, a human passionate desire. And the Brahmin Magandi told his wife, Bodhitun Tuni Hohi, shut up your mouth. He said to his wife. Then he followed the direction of the footprints implanted on the surface of the earth. Eventually, they found the enlightened Buddha. Then Brahmin Magandi addressed the Buddha. Samana Ditarame Tawa Posa Panataya Demi. O Reverend Bhikkhu, I offer you my daughter to be your wife and to be looked after by you. The Brahmin Magandi said to the Lord Buddha. Buddha, before replying to him as to whether he would accept the offer of the Brahmin's daughter Magandi or not, recounted his life story beginning from his great renunciation up to the time he settled down at the foot of Ajapala Bodhi tree, after his enlightenment, and as to how Mara, the evil one, has been shadowing him for 7 years. Mara had been investigating and keeping constant vigilance on him. When Mara, the evil one, knew about Buddha's total emancipation from lust of the flesh and sensuality, he was put to mental distress with full of anxiety. At that moment, Mara's 3 daughters, with a view to giving help to their father, disguised themselves as beautiful divine maidens and tried to allure and entice the Lord Buddha. This was related to him by the Buddha. After that, Buddha went on to explain how he had withstood and eliminated raga, the worldly pleasure or desires, though these very charming and fascinating daughters of Mara had tried to invoke his passion. And Buddha said the following stanza: Deswanatana arate raginja nahosi chando apimetuna same kime vidam moda grisa ponam pada binan sampusito na eje. So this is the statement of the Buddha to Brahmima Gandhi. That means no clinging sensual desire has occurred in me, even at the sight of the 3 daughters of Mara. Accordingly, there is nothing to say in the case of your so-called beautiful daughters, Magandi, a worthless body full of loathsome filth, such as feces and urine. Buddha said, I am not even inclined to touch Magandi with my foot. After having heard the Buddha's words, Buddha's preaching, both the parents of Magandi, becoming mindful and aware of the truth of the Dhamma, reached the stage of Anagami Phala and became Anagamis. However, these words of Mota Karisambona made Magandi, the daughter, intolerable. She felt so bad and angry that she bore a grudge against the Buddha from that time onwards. This bhikkhu, if he didn't want me, he should say, So, why did he say that I'm full of feces and urine? That is total insult to me. Mahatma thought in this way. Bearing in mind that she was purposely put to disgrace, Mahatma plotted with wickedness to take revenge upon Buddha at one time or the other when she got married to a person of her own choice. Relating to this incident, it seems reasonable to raise a question. As doesn't Buddha know that Mahatma would bear a grudge out of resentment? Yes, indeed, Buddha was well aware of it. It has been explained in the Mahabharata commentary that Buddha uttered these words of truth, Mutta Karisapona, purposely, knowing fully well that only by preaching in that manner his parents would attain Anagami Phala, and that the speech was delivered after due consideration of the benefits which would be derived by them as against the revenge which was sure to be hedged against him by Dr. Mahatma. Having been liberated from Kamaraga after becoming Anagami, Mahatma's parents put their daughter under the care and guardianship of her uncle Mahatma, and then enter monkhood in the realms of Buddha's sasana. Later, after continuous practice of intensive meditation, the parents of Mahatma became arhants. So in this Mahatma story, Mutta Karisapona, that means Mahatma is full of urine and feces. So that is one of the practice reflection on the repulsiveness of the body. The contemplation of the body deals with the reflection on the repulsiveness of the body. It also deals with the different parts of the body. According to the Sutta, there are 32 body parts. Meditators are instructed to contemplate on the repulsiveness of these 32 parts. It is the same meditation on the body that is described in the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification. So in the Sutta, Buddha said, again, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu reflects on this body upward from the soles of his feet, downward from the tips of his hair, enclosed by the skin and full of diverse impurities. Thus, there are in this body head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, marrows, kidneys, heart, liver, intestines, spleen, lungs, bowels, stomachs, undigested food, feces, brain, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, limbs, saliva, nasal mucus, wall of the joints, and urine. Mutta is urine, Krisan, feces. So the Buddha used only two words for Magandi teaching. So meditators survey their own body, look at it mentally, see the 32 parts of the body, and contemplate repulsiveness with respect to these parts. For some meditators, the meditation on the repulsiveness of the body is difficult to understand and to accept. This difficulty should be a reminder to look at these kinds of meditation with an open mind. With an open mind, a firm dedication to freedom from suffering, meditators may come to understand why this meditation was praised by the Buddha. So Buddha said, bhikkhus, when one thing is developed, repeatedly practiced, it leads to a supreme sense of urgency, it leads to supreme benefits, it leads to supreme cutoff of bondage, it leads to supreme mindfulness and full awareness, it leads to acquisition of knowledge and vision, it leads to a happy life here and now, it leads to realization of fruits of clear vision and deliverance. What is that one thing? It is mindfulness. Occupy with the body. And again, Buddha said, bhikkhus, meditators experience the deathless who cultivate mindfulness, occupy with the body. So in this story, Magandi's father, Magandi's parents listen to the Dharma stanza, the Mota Karisa Pona Idam. Magandi is full of urine and feces. After hearing this, they practiced meditation and they became Anagami. So we stop our discourse for today. We continue next week by practicing Metta Bhavana, by developing Vipassana meditation continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future.